Hi, I'm JJ. Welcome back. I wanted to give another couple book recommendations, random nonfiction. I'm not doing my favorite fully yet because I want to save those for Nonfiction November, where I want to talk about one or two of my absolutely favorites. But these are up there, so I did want to recommend them. The first is, I don't have a copy of it, Stamped from the Beginning, A Definitive History of the Racist Ideas in America by Ibram X. Kendi. And so that is a great wide history book talking about, slavery in the United States, but also all the stuff that led to slavery and racism, I guess not led to racism, that's always just been existent, but all the things that led to us believing in one race dominating the other. And then you also get to see after slavery had ended, then you also still have Reconstruction, Jim Crow era, you have the civil rights movements, you have all the stuff that they still had to fight for their rights. And so you get to see a bunch of ways that they kept having to fight government in a system that tried to keep them down. So I talked in an earlier book about Nixon and his election and his more progressive geared politics, but you get to see a lot of the other stuff that he did that was not at all progressive, and that was very detrimental to, a society in general. He was involved in a lot of the coups and stuff that took place in the South and Central America, the drug war, and stuff like that. So you get to see this wide-spanning history, especially American history, that deals with our reckoning with racism. It's very well written, and I did really enjoy it. I learned a lot from it. Around more American history, Accidental Presidents by Jared Cohen. So these are 8 men who changed America. What's fascinating about this book, and I highlighted probably a lot more than I didn't in here, just because there's so much of information that I wasn't aware of that helps me make sense of how our government got the way that it did, how corrupt a lot of our presidents were. And so this one talks about specifically John Tyler, Millard Fillmore, Andrew Johnson, Chester Arthur, Theodore Roosevelt, Calvin Coolidge, Harry Truman, and Lyndon Johnson. What was interesting is they're accidental presidents because their presidents died while in office, and so the vice presidents never expected to be president, and then how they coped with what they were given. And so you get to see a lot of the stuff that we're dealing with now, with the corruption and stuff with the government, the very corrupt both Democratic and Republican parties, and how they're essentially the same in so many ways, just trying to keep their party ahead at no matter what cost. And the cost is usually not just the people in the United States, but people abroad who are affected by those policies and stuff. So what I found fascinating about this, first of all, they're accidental presidents, but they never mentioned Ford in here. And Ford was only president because Nixon had to resign. And so I think he should have been one, but I get that he was talking about the 4 that, the 8 that died, 4 that were assassinated, and then 4 that just died in office. And so some of them I knew a lot more about than others, and so it was really fascinating to learn about the ones that I didn't. And so you get to see in here what that president did, or when they became president, what that vice president did. But you get to see more about the president that they were replacing, and how a lot of times they had to try to handle a mess that was left to them. But then you get to see the effects of their presidency, and since it's talked about like that, you kind of get to see this through line of, oh, what this person did affects this presidency years later, and stuff like that. So how it's all interconnected. There's a lot of fascinating aspects, like when I literally write in the pages WTF, when I couldn't believe some of the stuff that was going on. But I really did enjoyed it a lot. I learned a lot. The other one, I haven't read this one since high school, but has always stuck with me, and I do want to do a reread sometime. Death Be Not Proud by John Gunther. And so he is a father who wrote about his son who died when he was 17 of a brain tumor. And so it's about, a parent losing their child, the fight for him to live, his last moments, and how he met it with dignity, and just what he learned from his son and from his son dying. Like I said, I read it on my own. It wasn't assigned in high school or anything, but I read it on my own in high school, and it has still stayed with me. I actually have 2 copies. I didn't realize, so this is a new copy. So I will definitely have to reread that. And another one that I wanted to mention was Gertrude Bell, Queen of the Desert, Shaper of Nations. So she herself is fascinating. Very controversial in many ways, because she actually is responsible for shaping the Middle East. She drew basically the boundary for the English government to create Iraq. And so she, on her own, learned multiple languages, but when she was in Iraq trying to establish ties and relationships with the different tribes to try to bring them all together and unify them, she had to learn the different dialects of each region. It wasn't just one language she learned. She learned multiple different aspects of it. She really immersed herself in the culture. So she also was an archaeologist. She was a spy. She was an author, poet, photographer. She was even a mountaineer. She would climb mountains in pants, which was very controversial once again as a woman. And so just the stuff that she was able to accomplish. So she was born in 1868. So she was able to do so much as a woman that you wouldn't expect. They put so much trust and so much power in her. And just reading about her, I knew, broad strokes of different things, but I really enjoyed this actual biography of her and learning more about her and how she did try to fight for the Arab people that she was working with, but she was fighting against the British government, so the British Empire. It was she couldn't get the things through that she wanted to, but she surely did try. And so just what she did during World War I, what she did in general, and all her travels, all of her, all the stuff that she learned on her own, because women at that time weren't really given a whole lot of opportunities, so she had to make opportunities, and she made herself indispensable to the British Empire. She's here riding a camel in Egypt, but yeah, if you want to read about a fascinating, complicated woman, Gertrude Bell. I know that they have multiple books about her. I know Saracen from Saracen Salute was going to be reading about her. He had a different book than this, but I always liked hearing his points of view on it, as somebody from the Middle East, and his thoughts on her. But yeah, I recommend this one. Like I said, there are others, but this is the one I read and I did enjoy it. So those are some nonfiction books, but I would like to hear if you read any of them. If you have any other recommendations that are similar to these, please let me know. In the meantime, enjoy and happy reading.